to this concept art here, guys. I also want to remind you, because I know some people will be asking, why would we care about concept art here? Like, the movie already happened, it's finished. Don't you forget, back when Spider-Man Far From Home happened, they had we got a sneak peek at the suit from Spider-Man No Way Home. So back when Spider-Man Far From Home was coming out, and they released an art book where they showed us alternate versions of what the suit could look like. In the Far From Home book, this was an alternate suit that they thought about giving Tom Holland Spider-Man in that movie. And then, of course, if you watch Far From Home, this suit is nowhere there. But if you watch Spider-Man No Way Home, they bring back this unused concept and give Spider-Man this suit for the movie. So when looking at these concepts, yeah, it's like, oh, well, that's something we'll never see. What's the point of talking about it? You never know. They pay people this for a reason, and they're like, well, we have it in the bank. Let's just use it. So just like this Far From Home suit that was almost used, it came back into play to No Way Home. So now let's go into this. First thing I want to look at is some alternate designs for Tom Holland's Spider-Man face here that showed up. These are some really interesting looks. And again, especially I'm thinking these were used for the last suit, for the suit that Spider-Man wears at the end of No Way Home when he's like having his final swing and whatnot. So there's a good chance Spider-Man 4, we could see some of these lenses or eyes be the actual eyes for Tom Holland Spider-Man. Now, you'll immediately notice the John Romita inspiration here. So let me bring up Spider-Man John Romita Jr. John Romita's art was pretty iconic with it. Oh, there's like is that the right one? Yes, it is. There's like a specific panel I'm thinking about though. Let me see. Was it not Spider-Man cover where like his eyes are just huge? Let me see if I can bring that up. There we go. Oh, no, it's not. That's not that exactly. There we go. This one right here. Like that, a classic Spider-Man cover, straight. Like that's one you always see as a kid, always look at. Looks gorgeous. Big old eyes. That's kind of what they were trying to attempt to do here with these ones. And I'm on the fence because we already saw Andrew Garfield basically did the big bulgy eyes. His suit, I think, has the biggest eyes. Todd McFarlane. Sorry, my bad. Todd McFarlane. There, I got him confused. Thank you, guys. My bad. Todd McFarlane. There we go. But Andrew Garfield, he essentially had the biggest eyes. Whether you look at Tobey's or Tom Holland's, Andrew had the big bulgy eyes in Amazing Spider-Man 2. Now with the McFarlane look here, like, yes, it looks really cool there, and it reminds me so much of that cover I'm like, dang, that would look awesome. But would it actually work like once it's in live action and it's moving about? Because remember, this with Tom Holland, the eyes move, so they would go up, they would go down, they would squint and whatnot. With something that big work here, I would love to see it, because right now in this, I love that look. These up here also I think would be like a happy medium of it. That's more like the Todd McFarlane look, like literally straight ripped out of the cover there, just like that. I think this bottom one is a better job of adding those MCU effects where it has like, extra lines and technological look to it. So that would be awesome. It feels more like they ended up going with this top row for his final suit, though. That's kind of like what it looks like. See, what's a Spider-Man No Way Home suit look like? We don't really get like an up close look at it. No Way Home final suit. Let's see. What's like the I guess we have this concept art that it's being based off. And yeah, they basically just went with like the smaller eyes up here. But I would not mind this McFarlane look then for this fourth Spider-Man movie. I would be very curious to see them try it. I think it'd be really fun, especially if they go with a classic Spider-Man feel, because he's going to be street level now, right? He's going to be fighting crime, maybe teaming up with Daredevil. At least that's what we're other concept art that I guess at one point they thought they were going to have Spider-Man meet up with J. Jonah Jameson with, which kind of makes sense, because if you think about Spider-Man No Way Home, there's a point where he needs J. Jonah Jameson's help to announce to the world, to New York, where he's going to be, the Statue of Liberty, so all the Sinister Five show up there and fight him. So this might have been a scene they thought about where it's like, what if Peter goes to J. Jonah Jameson and says, hey, I know you hate me, but can you just make this announcement? So it looks like instead of calling him, like what ends up happening in No Way Home, he would go to his apartment, and this is what it was going to look like. Just this disheveled. He was a bit of a hoarder, has a bunch of cats here. I thought that was an interesting part of No Way Home. Like every time we saw J. Jonah Jameson, he just had like a more of an updated look, was doing sponsorship, selling pills and whatnot. So that's something that's interesting that they thought about doing. Okay. This is an alternate look for the Green Goblin costume. Wouldn't have minded. I don't know about the ears. The ears kind of feel a little off to me. I actually like the hood and the goggles there. The ears maybe a little too big. I would have liked them smaller. I do like the rest of the look of the suit. It feels almost organic in a way, not so much metal. It feels like actual, like I don't know, like lizardy type skin and whatnot. But maybe they would have had a hard time. I guess they called it the Dark Elves. Damage control facility could have had some of the old. Uh, oh, so this was going to be an armor from the Dark Elves. That's crazy, from Thor: The Dark World. I didn't even read that. Thor: The Dark World elves? Was that where it was going to be their suits? Oh, that would have been weird. It was going to be this. Oh, okay. All right, that's a choice. I don't know if I love that. That just would have been an interesting feel. This right here, I think if they ever made a sequel to Sam Raimi's Spider-Man where the Green Goblin lived and he got to come back, this might have been a face we would have seen. I actually don't mind. No, actually I do mind that. It looks a little funny, doesn't it? I don't know. Does that mask work for y'all? It looks goofy and then it looks not goofy a little bit. I like the suit. The suit is just basically the original Sam Raimi suit, but the eyes, I'm like, I'm not. Yeah, there's people saying, nah, no, Dane DeHaan looking. That's pretty funny. Goofy Goblin, yeah, okay, okay, we agree. All right, so let's get into the one we all want to talk about here because we were like, what were you trying to cook? So we should have seen this coming. I think that was like one of the early rumors about Spider-Man No Way Home is that the Sinister Six were going to come in contact with Stark Tech and they were going to use that to give themselves upgrades and they would fight Spider-Man with it. And look, I like the Spider-Man and Iron Man connection in the MCU, but I like it to a point. I don't like it that Iron Man's shadow has become so huge over all three of the first Spider-Man No Way Home movies. I would say No Way Home, the way the finished film came out, has the least Iron Man like ish connections or Iron Man ish feel. The first two, really, you just feel that Iron Man shadow, and you understand why people called Spider-Man Iron Boy Jr. or whatever. I would not have liked this look. I like maybe if it got painted purple here. You know what? That does look badass, but I just don't like that again. It's latching on to Iron Man and becoming part of that. I don't love that. I would have been so disappointed, even more disappointed if this is the glider we got. If we got the Mysterio holograms as the glider for Green Goblin, John Watts, I would never let you touch another Spider-Man movie. And I love you, John Watts. I don't want to give you as much hate as other people. I'm still wondering if he's coming back for Spider-Man 4. The minute we found out he's not going to be directing the Fantastic Four anymore, I was like, Sony handed him a check. Sony said, John Watts, come back and make 3 more. And he was like, how big is that check? And Sony was like, Morbius money big, more $1 billion. So I was not a big fan when this came out. I'm so happy it didn't happen. I could just hear the internet buzz and hoopla. This would have been something that would have slightly ruined No Way Home for me. Just like a little bit on there. Really would have been pissed if it was red. I would have just been a little bothered if it turned out this purple. If they did this, if they gave him that glider though, no, never. That's so terrible. I see someone say Iron Goblin Jr. That is crazy that they thought about that. Okay, but the No Way Home concepts don't end there because there's other stuff. We got some Doctor Strange stuff. That's not that interesting. They're just different suits, what they were trying to do there. I'm like, okay, let's look at what they were going to do with Ned. So this is something they thought about doing for Ned. And at first, you look at this and go, what do you do? Why would Ned jump on a glider holding a pumpkin bomb and throw it? But yeah, boy, this honestly might have been their subtle, jokey MCU humor way of foreshadowing Hobgoblin. This isn't the only foreshadow thing that we get in Spider-Man No Way Home. Don't forget, there's in the lab when they're creating the cure for all the villains. You know, Tobey Maguire Spider-Man tells Tom Holland his life, and then it tells him about how, you know, his best friend Harry tried to kill him and all that stuff. And then Ned goes, I promise I will never try and kill you. And it's like, that was a jokey moment, but there's a really good way now in Spider-Man 4 or in these next couple of movies. If they bring Tom Holland and Ned back, he could honestly become a villain. He has no memory of Peter Parker. He has no friendship or connection with him anymore. If he meets Peter Parker again, they could get off on the wrong foot. They could end up being enemies, and it would be a good setup for Ned to end up becoming Hobgoblin. Him riding this glider, I would have bet you there would have been some sort of joke where he likes riding it, throwing a pumpkin bomb, looks at the camera and goes, I could get used to this. You know, the MCU would have done that. That would have been something there. So this looked ridiculous to me at first and kind of funny and memeable, but then you really think about it and it was like, this was them foreshadowing Hobgoblin. They might honestly have plans to let, you know, Ned become Hobgoblin. They already did Norman Osborn Green Goblin with Tom Holland. Why would they, you know, do that kind of again in their own version? I think the best way to give Tom his own Goblin is to make it Ned. I'm curious to see how that story goes because I really don't want them to retcon, you know, the MJ and Ned thing so quickly. I feel like it's eventually going to happen, whether it's in the next Spider-Man movie after this one or the third one after that. Um, but if they retcon it right away in Spider-Man 4 that they remember him and they're friends again, they love each other, I'm just gonna be like, what are you doing, man? Have some stakes. So yeah, that's some stuff that was in there, just some interesting concepts. I also saved this because this was also concept art that came out way back when. And I don't know how many of you guys remember it, so I thought I'd just bring it back because this is concept art I really wished happened. Because don't forget, at one point, Spider-Man No Way Home was going to come out after Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. That was the plan, but pandemic really screwed up the MCU. Kevin Feige was probably in his office pulling out whatever hairs he had left under that hat or whatever he's hiding under that hat. I still plan to find out. And this was going to be our way for how they travel. America Chavez was going to be part of the adventure in Spider-Man No Way Home, and it was going to be through her star portals that we go to Andrew and Toby's world, bring them in to help fight these villains. I kind of wish that ended up happening because I'm not a big fan of Ned getting magical powers and opening the portals. I was like, that's a little lame. So that's another piece of concept art, and that was back before they thought they knew who they were going to cast as America Chavez. But yeah, guys, that's what happens, man. It's so crazy looking at this concept art, how much movies can change before they come out. I already find No Way Home very enjoyable, very likable, and just knowing it could have been maybe not completely different, but pretty different than what I thought. I just think that's kind of funny there.